This is the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, former TNA X Division champion and former TNA World Tag Team champion, and you are listening to the TNA Cross the Line podcast. Enjoy.
TNA Wrestling, Cross the Line.
And we're back with episode 196 of the TNA Cross the Line podcast. I am Colling Jr. With me, as always, is Dallas Gridley. And Dallas, we are coming off of Bound for Glory 2005, where the young wonder Kevin Nash was not medically cleared to compete. So the main event was basically thrown out, and we had a new one. There was a gauntlet for the gold, essentially, number one contendership, involving 10 guys, and I'm sure we'll get into it with a brief rundown. But in the end, the Man-Beast Rhino defeated Jeff Jarrett to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And yes, Rhino was also involved in the four-way Monsters Ball match. And guess what? That's when you say what, Dan?
What?
He won that one too.
Oh my God.
And then he won the Gauntlet for Gold and the World Title. So he won 3 matches in one night, completely throwing his apparent small alliance with Jeff Jarrett out the window. And he's the new world champion. I would have gone with Monty Brown. That's just me. I don't matter. Dallas, how are we feeling coming out of Bound for Glory and having a new world heavyweight champion?
Well, overall, I'd say we're feeling pretty good. It was a very, I thought it was a very good show for a 3.5 hour long pay-per-view. Because, of course, the pre-show wasn't just a pre-show. It was part of the show. Okay. So we had an extra 30 minutes, which if you've been listening to the last couple of pay-per-views we've been covering, you've gotten the extra 30 minutes with those two.
Yeah, well, and I disagree that it was part of the show because they still had the countdown like they do on the pre-shows. So to me, that's not part of the show.
I mean, it's not, you're not wrong. But it's funny because Dave makes a funny remark about this too, but we'll get into it. There is some super interesting stuff coming out of Bound for Glory, and we're going to get into all of that, of course, here before the show, because we're going to break down the show before maybe a few other minor notes, and then we'll get into today's episode, back covering Impact. And it should be interesting. And I don't know. I guess I don't have anything else to open with besides just kind of getting into this.
We can get into it, Dale.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Bound for Glory. I guess before I forget, since I tend to do that, me and Bob liked the show. We gave it a thumbs up. So, Bob, how do you feel that the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter thought about it? Did they agree with us with a thumbs up, or did they go down or in the middle? Majority.
No, they're gonna say thumbs up.
Yeah, they did. 80.2% gave it a thumbs up, 5.8% gave it a thumbs down, and 14% gave it a thumbs in the middle. And if you want the breakdown of those numbers, we had about 263 people vote up, 19 down, and 46 in the middle. So, as far as how many people responded, it's pretty good, really. Now, I know we didn't talk about the matches yet, but Bob, what do you think got voted on as the best match from Bound for Glory?
I'm going to assume Styles and Daniels.
Yes, and it was by a landslide. But in second place, with quite a bit of votes as well, was that Monsters Ball match. And third was Roderick Strong versus Sonjay Dutt versus Austin Aries versus Alex Shelley. And as far as...
And that was on the pre-show, right?
Yes. I had to double check that. So, I mean, it was in the first half hour of the pay-per-view, but, pre-show, first half hour, whatever. Yeah. What about the worst match? What do you think I voted on as the worst?
The Diamonds in the Rough match?
It was Apollo and Siaki and Shark Boy against the Diamonds in the Rough. But there was 5 others with them. And second for the worst match was Jarrett and Rhino. Then it was Monty Brown and Lance Hoyt. Then 3 Live Crew versus Team Canada. Then the Gauntlet match. And then, believe it or not, Ultimate X. And I think there's a reason, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, it's got to be for that finish.
Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty interesting stuff. So let's dive in. There's a couple things here before we get into it that Dave talks about, and then we will talk about the show itself. So this was from the October 31st, 2005 Observer newsletter, if you're keeping track at home. So Dave says that the 2 most clear things coming out of TNA's Bound for Glory pay-per-view on October 23rd in Orlando were that it was not the show the company hoped it would be, and probably not even close, but that it will turn out to be financially the most successful event they have ever produced. Now, Bob's probably wondering, what the fuck does that mean? I'm going to tell you in just a second. It's pretty interesting because I didn't know this, but anyway, so due to it being billed as both the Super Bowl of TNA and probably more due to the company being viewed by 4 times as many fans on television per week as before, it's a lock this show destroyed any previous marks the company has done on pay-per-view. Our response were up more than 67% from TNA's biggest draw pay-per-view from the November through January of last year, which we're doing in the 35,000 to 40,000 buy range. He says it's likely this show did in the same range as some of the weaker WCW and ECW shows were doing in 2000 to 2001. He says the show drew the usual full house, which this time was about 900 fans. About 750 of them came from around the U.S. for the Fan Fest, paying $59.95. So the company did actually do a live gate at about $45,000. Another 150 were park goers, local wrestling fans, or giving tickets, mostly in the parks by Jimmy Hart. There were fans from all over North America with strong congregations from New York and Chicago, as well as from Japan, Italy, Australia, and the United Kingdom. So everyone is coming out to see Bound for Glory.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, like, this is, again, the kind of the WrestleMania. People travel from all over the world to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, hopefully these people didn't come to see Kevin Nash because, as you mentioned and here, the show was officially changed just hours before it was to start. Now, the day before, Kevin Nash scheduled to face Jeff Jarrett in the main event. He complained of chest pains, called 911, and was rushed to the hospital. Nash, whose father died at the age 35 from a heart attack, was given an EKG and held overnight for observation. While some automatically thought that this was a work, noting that Nash did something similar in WCW when he was supposed to do the job for the Giant, by later that night, with Terry Taylor reporting back with Nash at the hospital, everyone realized that the situation was very real and serious. The night before, the booking committee was up all night, basically restructuring the show, and the main event would have to be changed. They didn't know for sure until the morning that there was no way Nash would have been cleared to wrestle, and that the Plan B would have to go into effect. And Dave even notes here, believe it or not, here, Bob, that Kevin Nash, who's 46 at this time, he may have wrestled his last match, at least according to the belief at press time. And we, of course, know that is not true.
He literally has another, like, brief WWE run after this.
Yeah, he's got some time left. Nash himself did not want to go to the hospital, or did not want the hospital to release his medical condition. What is known is that he did not suffer a heart attack, but his EKG did uncover some form of a problem. So let's talk about Plan B, because I think this is where it gets super interesting, and you kind of get a look into what was supposed to happen. So Plan B, however, is very controversial in hindsight. Now, the original plan was for Jarrett to beat Kevin Nash when Raven would interfere, turn heel, and cost Nash the match. Plus, special ref Tito Ortiz would also go heel, which is, I think I might have mentioned that, I thought, but because he like pushed Jarrett instead of choking him out like he did to Nash.
Right, he choked out Nash, yeah.
Where he's most natural, of course, this is talking about Ortiz. And it was widely agreed Dusty Rhodes made a mistake by bringing him in as a babyface. So eventually this would lead to a Kevin Nash versus Raven program, which, I don't know, kind of sounds interesting because that's like a very bizarre combo.
Oh, yeah, it is.
See, so like
Wow.
I don't know, something about that was like, dang, I kind of wish we saw this. So, with it being the company's biggest show in its history, to not deliver the advertised main event made them panic and go overboard in booking. So they added the gauntlet, the Battle Royal, where the winner, Rhino, would get his shot at Jarrett, and then they put Rhino over for the last minute to win the NWA title. So obviously he was not supposed to. He's not supposed to win this because he wasn't in the match. But Jarrett wasn't going to drop the belt. I think that's the most interesting part. Now, apparently, the decision came down to either Raven, who had the stronger storyline reason of being screwed out of the title and never getting a rematch, or Rhino. Any thoughts of Monty Brown or Samoa Joe were nixed because the belief that it was too soon, as both are thought to be possible long-term champions. The feeling is that Raven was planned for a heel turn with a storyline built around him not getting a title shot is a key part of it. Thus, they'd have to abandon the storyline to go with him. So I sort of see what they mean by that, because the whole point is like he's fighting with Larry Zbyszko right now about not getting a title shot. But I still think it should have been Raven. But.
So if he were to turn heel, would he have, like, because I had said maybe he'll do the whole, if I can't beat him, I'll just join him. Would he have aligned himself with Jarrett?
I think that's a really interesting question. I almost look at it. So I'd say you could do that, and I think it would make sense with the way the story's going. But then there's the other part of like, well, I don't want Kevin Nash to win because I'm not the one in the match, so I'm just going to screw him.
Yeah, that's my other thing too, is because Raven is typically a loner.
Right.
So he could just still turn heel and just, I guess, still hate Jarrett but still be a heel.
Yeah, and then it's just more like, screw you, Kevin Nash, because it was supposed to be my title shot.
Right.
And which would make sense of why he's like going off to this, doing a separate story then, and then Jarrett kind of continues with whatever he's going to do.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting because if Raven and Kevin Nash went to go do their own thing, then who's next for Jarrett? I guess we'd have to start to work in Monty Brown or something, right?
I would have to think so, but I think it's funny that they think it's too soon for Monty Brown. I mean, we're going on literally probably a year and a half now.
That he should have been.
He should have won the championship. Yeah. I mean, last November on Impact, when they had a match, and we were like, oh, they should have just put the title on Monty Brown.
Right.
And they didn't do it. And then I think he had. Did he have a title match on pay-per-view? Was it January? Because I know February was Nash, and then March was Page.
You're making me think yes, but now I can't remember. Hold on.
January might have been Monty Brown.
January was Final Resolution. Yes, it was. It was. Oh wait, hold on. It was. Oh yeah, because he won the three-way match, the number one contender match against DDP and Kevin Nash, and then he lost to Jeff Jarrett the same night.
Right. So I would probably even say at Final Resolution 9 months ago, he should have probably just won the title.
Right. Yeah, probably.
Samoa Joe being too soon, I think, is comical because it's Samoa Joe. He's a believable badass. And I'll tell you right now, if Samoa Joe had marched down to that ring and choked out Jeff Jarrett in 30 seconds with Tito Ortiz ringing the bell and all that, Samoa Joe is a fucking made man.
I mean, yeah.
Made man.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
And you probably could just treat him as your Goldberg, honestly, at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
I don't know who right now on that roster I would sit there and be like, oh, they can beat Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
You know?
Yep.
Samoa Joe is on kind of a different level, even though he's a X Division, quote unquote, guy. He certainly doesn't fit the prototype of your X Division guy. So.
Right. No, it's totally true. And speaking of the X Division, it's kind of another one of those weird things that happened during the show. So we're going to talk a little X Division now. So as it turns out, the changes were the weakest part of the show, which was good overall, and seemed to impress the majority of first-time pay-per-view buyers. So he mentions that the Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles Iron Man match was excellent, but it didn't live up to the standards of the original one in February. I believe you and I both agreed with that statement after we watched it.
Yep.
And then the bigger issue here is that an equipment malfunction ended the Ultimate X several minutes early before most of the biggest spots were planned. So all the wrestlers were visibly frustrated in front of the audience, including the winner, P. Williams. Now, the X above the ring fell down twice. The second time, it fell into the hands of Williams, who was the scheduled winner.
Okay.
So, which is very important to know. Now, someone backstage, who apparently their identity is being kept a secret, because in hindsight, it was the wrong decision. So we're not saying who it is, signaled to just end it. And that's why he just stood under it when it was about to fall again. But the problems were also with the layout. So it was clear to the live crowd that the Samoa Joe versus Jushin Liger match was close to the most anticipated match of the show, but it was booked to only go 7 minutes because of adding the gauntlet and apparently questions regarding Liger. The fact is that both Liger and Joe are much better long match wrestlers, and while what they did was good, it was a major letdown. And actually, I think this is a good time. Let me scroll real quick to a different note. I was just telling Bob off air, probably fits better for this section of the show because there's another note about this match in particular. Because that Samoa Joe versus Jushin Liger match was originally slated to go apparently 20 minutes. Even when they changed the show around and added the Gauntlet Battle Royal, they were still supposed to do a longer match. It's not exactly clear why it happened, but they were in there working the beginning of a long match, and then at about 5 minutes in, the ref told both guys to go home, and they rushed their final spots in. Liger expressed interest in returning, and they have an idea for a potential TV special in 2006 that he'd be a major part of.
So they were going to go 20?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is pretty nuts. I don't know if I can picture them going 20.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe obviously has gone long. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I don't know. I can't. I thought that 7 to 10 minutes was fine, but
yeah. So on a positive side, the Jeff Hardy versus Rhino versus Sabu versus Abyss Monsters Ball match tore the house down. There is also a question with so many matches being rushed. Why did Diamonds in the Rough, which is of course Simon Diamond, Alex Skipper, and David Young, versus Apollo, Shark Boy, and Sonjay appear on the pay-per-view to begin with, as that made 11 matches before a crowd that was clearly getting tired down the stretch. The crowd still saved Monty Brown versus Lance Hoyt match because it's two of their favorites, but Dave says it was a bad match. They added Battle Royal, dragged, and when Rhino came out for his shot at Jarrett, it was his third bout of the night, and people weren't that hot to see him. Still, the Shock title change popped the crowd, as did the return of Team 3D, whom the company changed plans on just a few days before the show. The original idea was for them to not either be at the pay-per-view or the television tapings due to the injury angle. However, the strong response at the funeral segment saw the company make the call to work it out where they would leave the All Japan tour midway to make the surprise post-match attack on the pay-per-view, since they also wanted them in a match for the Spike special. So there was, in fact, a change plan there, is that they were not supposed to be there. They left the tour early.
Okay, so they're not even going to go back.
I'm assuming not. Pretty interesting. But let's do a quick rundown of some matches, get some star ratings, and talk more Bound for Glory. On the pre-show, or the first 30 minutes free of the pay-per-view, Sonjay Dutt won a 4-way over Austin Aries, Roderick Strong, and Alex Shelley in 12 minutes, 31 seconds. And he calls this in the ROH Generation Next match. And even Dave says, this was basically the pre-show match, but it was billed at being part of the pay-per-view, being the first 30 minutes free, even though it really is the same thing they've done for every pay-per-view. The finish saw Strong set up a superplex, but Dutt threw him off the ropes and came with a Dragon Rana for the pin, 3.5 stars. He also does, for the record, he labels this as the first match of the pay-per-view and not a pre-show match because he does label them differently, just for the record.
It's a pre-show match.
I'm just saying, he literally does label it as number one instead of like A. Usually it's like
right.
A. Raven, during the pre-show, came out for a promo demanding that he get the title match. Larry Zbyszko, who Dave says needs to dress up more for these occasions, was called out. Rhino eventually came out, and he kind of had a confrontation with Raven. and then Rhino gored the hell out of Cassidy Riley for reasons that made no sense with the cameras on the announcers. He then did it again, and he gored Riley a second time. Samoa Joe beat Jushin Liger in 7 minutes, 15 seconds. Joe came out with a Polynesian dance team, as Dave calls it, which I think is a funny dance team. When Liger came out, tons of streamers were thrown. They pointed out Simon Inoki, the New Japan president, at ringside, and talked that TNA had a partnership tie-in with New Japan, and also announced TNA contest winners to get training are sent to the New Japan dojo in Los Angeles. The end came suddenly as Joe used the muscle buster to get and got the choke. 2.5 stars. And then next up, Simon Diamond and Elix Skipper and David Young, the Diamonds in the Rough, defeated Sonny Siaki, Apollo, and Shark Boy in 7 minutes, 7 seconds. He says you can't fault the effort here, but with a card that has as much going on, this match served no purpose. Young pinned Siaki after a spinebuster, 2.25 stars.
See, I would think that it served a purpose for maybe the Diamonds in the Rough, like getting a push.
I think that's very fair. And actually, This is another note that I think I should just tie in right here because it's about that match. So there was consideration canceling the Diamonds in the Rough match on the pay-per-view when they added the gauntlet. They went back and forth, but in the end, they decided it was a big show of the year and that most of those guys have been with the company for a long time and felt that they deserved a chance to appear on the big stage. He says, to me, and most seem to agree with this in hindsight, there was no point in having that gauntlet. And they should have just gone with the winner of the Monsters Ball getting the title shot because the gauntlet made the show drag and left almost no time for the main event. Although the main event was booked to be a short match anyways, the gauntlet went about 2 minutes longer than planned, and people had already seen all of those guys, several in great matches, and they simply couldn't possibly top it at that point.
Yeah, I agree. Just make the Monsters Ball number 1 contender.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good idea, actually. After that Diamonds in the Rough match, Jeff Jarrett did a promo. He said, screw Sabu, screw Abyss, screw Rhino, screw Jeff Hardy, etc. He had a face-off with Monty Brown to tease their feud that is set for some time. Jarrett tried to act like they were friends, but ended up as a stare-down. Monty Brown then pinned Lance Hoyt in 6 minutes and 32 seconds. There was some good stuff here, and the crowd saved this match because they were going nuts. He points out how Hoyt's punches are just awful, and they got worse as the match went on. And I think Bob kept being like, look at those punches, because he's slapping his leg, and I kept missing it every single time.
Yeah, it's bad. And like I've said, and Meltzer has said before, I believe, about, like, again, with like Chris Harris. Chris Harris's punches are fine. I think they're good punches. Lance Hoyt's punches at this point are just horrible. So fucking bad.
I'm gonna try to really pay attention next time.
I'm sure he'll be on an episode of iMPACT before the pay-per-view, so I'm sure we'll see it again. It's like the AR, so the way that Hoyt does like slap is like, it's like AR Fox when he does
Kicks
a
him in
kick
the corner.
and then he claps his hands in front of his face. It's like, oh my God, what are we doing?
Oh yeah, those are bad. Those I know are really bad.
Horrible.
Dave says that, of course, Brown ended up winning the match with the pounce period, as he calls it, which I just get a kick out of because it's just called the pounce. But he gives the match 1.5 stars. Team Canada, Eric Young, Bobby Roode, and A1 defeated Conan, BG James, and Ron Killings in 5 minutes, 59 seconds. He notes that the pre-match was funny because Kip James came out and offered BG his services to keep Scott D'Amore from having an impact. BG and Killings thought it was a great idea, but Conan thought it was a terrible idea. Kip James ended up instead of coming to ringside, just watched on the ramp. Well, guess what? Scott D'Amore ended up coming out, had the referee distracted, basically proving that Kip James should have been at ringside. The Canadians continued a post-match beatdown when Kip pulled BG to safety and let the Canadians beat up Conan. They held Conan and invited Kip James to hit Conan with a chair, but instead he hit A1, so that it was as if he turned face as Conan was even convinced. 1.5 stars.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kip was definitely in the right, and I'm starting to think that they're gonna switch it here, where Conan is gonna be the guy that ends up turning.
Oh shit!
Because he's being so. I can't think of the word, but like when this Kip is trying to do the right thing, and then Conan's like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
screw you. And then he screws them over.
We have a Conan interview on our next episode that he says some pretty interesting stuff. So that'll be on our next episode for next week. But I remember we did see the tease of him hanging out with Apollo backstage already once.
Right, and then in the notes it was like, oh, he's gonna form a Spanish group with Apollo and somebody else.
So it was gonna be Shocker at first, but he wants
Shocker.
Hamazide.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting.
I can't really picture Shocker in that type of group anyway.
No, I think we're basically done with him if I was to guess. Next up, Petey Williams won the Ultimate X over Matt Bentley and Chris Sabin in 13 minutes 38 seconds. They noted that this was Sabin's 7th Ultimate X match, which includes the one in the IWA promotion in Puerto Rico. Sabin was on the top rope, teasing that he was going to climb to get the X, but instead he moonsaulted backwards on both guys. Sabin was about to win when Bentley speared him off. The X fell down at that point, so that was the first time. They stopped the match. They brought out the Fix-It crew to put the X back up, which killed the momentum of the match, but Bentley did a dive to the outside on Williams. As Sabin and Bentley fought over the X, they both fell down. The X came loose again, and Williams was underneath it and caught it. This wasn't the planned finish. Sabin and Bentley both threw obvious fits in front of people, with Bentley doing a total Shawn Michaels about it, as he says. Even Williams was mad, which was stupid, because he won. He could be mad when he got backstage because of all this. The best stuff had been yet to come, but he won the match and the title shot, and you're in front of the people. Even if finish is blown and you win, you shouldn't be selling it that it's bad in front of the people. Even with all that, he gives this 3 stars.
Sabin literally stomped backstage, going backstage.
Oh yeah, I mean we noted oh yeah, they're pissed.
Oh yeah, you could definitely tell.
Next up, Chris Harris, James Storm, America's Most Wanted, retained the NWA Tag Team titles over Andy Douglas and Chase Stevens, the Naturals, in a 10-minute, 38-second match. Dave says it was a good match, but the title change that aired the night before was better. Once again, we agreed with the same thing. Mm-hmm. Gail Kim distracted Douglas, and Harris handcuffed him to the guardrail. This allowed them to double-team Stevens. Storm hit Stevens over the head with a beer bottle, and Storm pinned Stevens after the death sentence. Harris beat up Douglas, who was stiff handcuffed after the match. 3 stars. So pretty good.
Yeah, no, I thought that was I thought that was a good match too.
Because wow, what a shocker! America's Most Wanted and the Naturals have a good match. Wouldn't have called that one.
Yeah.
Rhino won the Monsters Ball over Sabu. Jeff Hardy and Abyss. He literally made a typo, and I almost said it that he beat himself. But anyway, that match went 11 minutes, 47 seconds. It was a brawl all over the place, but it was the show stealer. The story here is that all 4 guys were kept, of course, without food, water for 12 waters, and kept in the dark. He says 12 hours. It's supposed to be 24, but whatever. Now, you'll hear how funny this is in a second, and we said it on the show. But so Don West noted that Hardy looked like he'd done that many a time, which is absurd. Well, Rhino had clearly been out since he already did an angle 2 hours earlier. So, but he says, I guess they must have made sure that he didn't eat by doing the last minute weigh-in because he was on the pre-show. So they did a totally insane spot during this match where Abyss, as he says, was sleeping on a table in front of the entrance. Hardy put him there. And Hardy climbed to the stage where he was about 10 feet in the air, and then he climbed to another spot that was even higher. He had to leap off the top and clear the ramp to Swanton Abyss. It appeared it was coming from 12 feet up, but had to fly 15 feet out to make it work. He hit the move perfectly. It was spectacular as hell, but Hardy is going to hurt himself real bad someday if he keeps doing things like that. Every wrestler in the match, most of management, and nearly everyone who had heard about it tried to talk him out of the idea, but people gave up when they realized that no matter what he was told, he had already decided that he was doing it. It turned people around on him because of the good percentage of the Orlando crowd boos him heavily, and after doing that, I can't see him being booed for a while. The only question is, after this move, as spectacular as anything in TNA history, why did Hardy and Abyss even get up?
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it's true. Abyss came back and threw Sabu over the top rope through a table. After that, he pulled out thumbtacks, but before he could use them, Rhino gored the holy hell out of him through a table. Rhino then pinned Hardy after a pile driver off the middle rope, and luckily Hardy got his head out. Unluckily, it was way too obvious. But that was another scary spot. So he gives this match 4 stars.
I thought that was a nutty Monsters Ball. Definitely better than the first one that we saw at Victory Road.
Yeah, it was really
that
good.
was insane.
Next up, AJ Styles pinned Christopher Daniels in the only fall in 29 minutes 58 seconds to win a 30-minute Iron Man match. I mean, if you're watching it, there was only 1 second left, but whatever. And he ended up retaining, of course, the X Division title. The crowd was burned out from the prior match. They went slower than usual, but they had to. The last few minutes were great, both of them trading near falls. They played off the last finish of the 3-way with the reversing the Angel's Wings into the back bridge, but Daniels reversed him. The reverse was wound up that Styles hitting the Styles Clash with seconds left to get the pin. Both guys sold more and worked more exhaustion better than in their previous bouts, but it was better. He says that it was better than the Angles-Michaels Iron Man match, but not a match of the year level bout. The crowd gave both men a standing ovation, and Styles was crying at the end. 4 stars.
Better than Michaels Iron Man match. I don't think I've seen that in a long time. I'd have to rewatch that and compare them.
It's been a while.
I believe the Michaels Angle one was on Raw though, right?
That sounds right.
Like on maybe the return to USA.
That sounds right to me.
I think that's what they did.
Next up was the gauntlet match. Rhino won in 14 minutes, 16 seconds for the title shot. People really didn't need this match at this point in the show. He eliminated Abyss at the end, 1.5 stars. Nothing else to say. It was a battle royal.
Right.
I mean, he rates more, but I'm not. There's nothing else to say. And then finally, the main event. Rhino pinned Jeff Jarrett in 5 minutes, 40 seconds to win the NWA World title. Tito Ortiz was the referee, but really didn't play into much of the storyline, nor did they do the original planned turn. Jarrett hit Rhino with a guitar shot. Rhino kicked out and got no pop. People didn't expect that he was going to win, and really were either really burned out by this point or didn't care that much if he did. Although did pop for the idea of seeing the title change hands when it happened. After the match, America's Most Wanted came out. They set up for a second guitar shot, but Rhino hit the gore instead and got the pin. Post-match saw a beatdown on Rhino until 3 Live Crew made the save. Team Canada came out. They went to put Rhino in the casket that they brought out because Jarrett said that he originally was for Kevin Nash, of course. But someone was going to leave in the casket. After Jeff Jarrett finally nailed him with the guitar shot, Team 3D made their surprise run-in. They used a 3D on Eric Young and put him in the casket to end the show. Rushing Team 3D back just to end the show with a face pop showed a real lack of patience. 1.25 stars for the main event.
Yeah, I can see the lack of patience thing. So here's my question for you, Dallas, as we've been going over Bound for Glory now that Rhino is the champion. I'm assuming Rhino is a babyface following this win. Does a babyface Rhino come across as a long-term champion? Because for me, a heel Rhino is much more of a long-term champion than a babyface Rhino.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree.
Okay.
Yeah, babyface Rhino. I mean, fine and all, but I like mean Rhino.
Right. I mean, if he keeps that same attitude that he has as a heel towards heels, then like, okay. But I feel like in wrestling, whenever a badass heel turns face, they suddenly become not so much of a badass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, they feel like they need to have that sympathy level or something. So I'm kind of curious to see the potential character direction here for Rhino, which I'm sure we'll see here on this episode of Impact coming out of the pay-per-view. I'm sure
I would have to
be some kind of segment to, celebrate the title winner, Jarrett complaining, and Rhino comes out, whatever. So
right, I would have to assume. I just have a few other quick notes here before we get into today's show, and then we have a few more during the show to talk about as well. So, apparently, the Crusher just passed away at this time, like right before the show, and TNA did announce that they were dedicating the pay-per-view to the memory of the Crusher. And Mike Tenay noted that growing up, the Crusher was Jeremy Borash's favorite wrestler. Now, you would have no idea that they dedicated the show to him, because they did not say that. But just so you know, Bob, the Bound for Glory 2005 was in memory of the Crusher.
Yeah, no, he, I think on the pre-show Tenay mentioned that.
He did?
Yeah. Or
Well,
at some point it was mentioned. I'm pretty sure I said that, oh, hey, they're dedicating the show to the Crusher.
Well, that went way over my head then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I definitely
Okay.
heard that on their show.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
The TNA Impact the night before Bound for Glory drew record numbers, believe it or not, with a 0.9 rating and a 1.28 million viewers. So even though the rating was only up 0.1, actual viewers blew away anything the company has ever done due to the increase to 1.58 viewers per home, which for Saturday night is incredible. In comparison, from week one, the number is only up from 0.8 to 0.9, but actual viewers were up 52%. The show did a 1.5 among males 25 to 34. So that's the prime audience for the company right now. The 1024 replay did the same 0.5 it always does.
I've never understood the whole rating thing because to me a 1.0 should be like 1 million.
I know, I don't. It's really
but a 0.9 is 1.2 or whatever. Like I don't understand. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of ratings, another quick note, the Impact on 1027 replay did a 0.5 rating. So once again, the replays are constantly getting that. He does note that this is slightly down from the first 2 episodes, but perhaps that it was hurting the big rating that USA got head-to-head with the Scorpion King. So, and then my final note is kind of an interesting one. And I cut a little bit out of this, but Jim Duggan, Hacksaw, made a statement on his website regarding Dave Nelson, who we've talked about quite often. But he was supposed to be kind of going into business with him and stuff like that. But he actually discusses some pretty interesting stuff about TNA here. He notes that on April 26th, 10 days after something happened, I forgot. I think he had a meeting with him. He's supposed to be on an indie show. Yes, he was supposed to go on an indie show in Ohio. Nelson called him and says that he is down in Orlando for the TNA tapings, and if Hacksaw would come down and give him his opinion on what was going on with the company and as if he should get involved. Hacksaw says, I have not been to a TNA taping in years, since Jarrett hit me in the head with his guitar trying to get himself over again. I went down figuring that if Nelson had the Panda and TNA people whining and dining him, he must be legit. So basically, this is obviously talking about Hacksaw thinking that Nelson is like a legitimate businessman here. Seeing the way that Nelson was able to use his guys on the show further reinforced his standing with TNA. After watching a couple of tapings, we had a meeting where Nelson was supposedly about to invest $10 million into TNA. When he asked my opinion by Jerry Jarrett if he should invest, I said no. In caps, big N-O. He ended up taking his advice, pulled out of the TNA deal. Hacksaw says, I thought that was great, even though I burned the bridge with TNA forever. And that's that.
Has Duggan ever gone back there?
I don't think he ever has. So I do think, in fact, he did.
I remember Duggan taking shots at TNA for 2CW drawn bigger houses in the same venues as TNA would run.
Yeah, you're right.
Like 2008, 2009 or something.
I was trying to think of the year, but yeah, you're right. He did do that.
He definitely would. It was in Elmira. They're like, oh yeah. 2CW drew 2,000, which is like more than the 400 that TNA drew in the same building, like 3 months ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, so apparently he hates TNA.
Yeah. And then judging by the guitar shop mention.
I love that. He doesn't like Jarrett either.
Yeah, I was going to say, he clearly has an issue with that. Like Jarrett can't get
Jarrett trying to get himself over again.
Yeah.
That's funny. I saw Hacksaw from a distance yesterday. He was at a toy thing I went to, and so I saw him from a distance. Him and Tito Santana.
Yeah. Did you see Derek there?
You know, it's funny because I did not, but I saw his picture literally right after I left, so I had to have just missed him.
Yeah.
Because I was there, it's relevant to the podcast. I saw a vendor post 2 TNA figures, Bobby Roode's Team Canada figure and the Brother Devon, and I immediately said, I need to go to this and get these. And so I did.
So we did.
If
it's TNA related, Dallas is fucking going.
I'm going to freaking try, dude. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, that is all I have to tell you before we get into today's show. We do have more that we will talk about during the show. And then I will just tell you right now, because I'm really excited. Next week's notes, there's some pretty interesting stuff. I'm pretty excited to talk about next week. I couldn't remember if it was for this show or the next show. It is not. It's for next one. But it's going to be very, very interesting. And there's a lot that's going on. We have a lot going on here in TNA. We'll get to it. We'll chat.
I'm looking forward. Anytime, I feel like most of the time when you do that, it's something fucking that pisses me off. And I can't wait to get pissed off.
Keep tuning in.
All right, let's get into the October 29th, 2005 edition of TNA Impact. The approximate runtime for this is 41 minutes, 55 seconds. If you want to watch along with us, head over to Impact Plus. And we're going to enjoy some Impact here. The fallout from Bound for Glory. I'm going to count down from 3. And when I say play, that is when the watch along shall begin. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Ooh, this is TNA. Is very loud in my ear. And we are about to get some banger Bound for Glory highlights here. And of course, we're starting out with that Jeff Hardy spot.
Are they going to show the whole clip? No. Well.
Ooh, they showed a different angle, though. That was a cool angle. They showed
a pretty good, yeah.
See, but I like that they're teasing. They don't show the full spots versus, like, pictures. I don't like when they do the
stills. Yeah.
Like, that's what WWE does. I don't like the stills. I'm surprised they just showed that whole gore.
They showed the whole gore, though. Yeah, that was weird. They show the whole gore, but not the pin. But then they show that he won the match. So it's like, okay, we know he won.
That was a little weird.
Yeah.
And we just go right into the Impact Open. Pop, 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 pop.
New champion, Rhino.
60-minute
Genesis is in 3 weeks.
That's so freaking nuts, dude.
So we're going to definitely get a fucking Jarrett Rhino rematch. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, I have to assume that's the Genesis main event, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Whoa, what is that thing?
That's new.
Did you just see that?
Yeah.
That looked like what they tried to do. Oh, I just saw the Genesis poster in the background with Jeff Hardy's face.
Yeah.
That looked like one of those tubes that they tried to do at the asylum. Did they just repurpose a tube and hang it from the ceiling?
Maybe.
Wait, whoa. The stage looks different, doesn't it? There's like little things underneath the screens.
Yeah.
I need a better view of it. Oh, Abyss is kicking us off. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it was just darker. You can't tell, but.
So now we have Abyss coming out.
He says with James Mitchell, but we have not seen him yet. Oh, there he is. Okay. He's there.
Yeah, he's always there, dude.
Plus line.
He's usually there.
And he's wearing red again. Now, if you're wondering, so this aired on the 29th of October. It was taped on the 25th. There was one dark match, Bob, that happened during this taping, and that's Andy Douglas and Chase Stevens defeating Buck Quarterman and Lex Levette. And I will tell you right now, there's a big note about that one next week.
About the pre-show match or a dark match?
Yeah. My teaser is that it wasn't supposed to be a dark match. Lance Hoyt is Abyss's opponent here.
It must go very badly. I have one indie note for Abyss. And I might have already mentioned this. I don't think I have. October 20th, BPW Abyss retained the heavyweight title by defeating Nigel McGuinness.
Ooh. Okay.
Middletown, Ohio, in case you're wondering.
See, that's so funny you say that about Nigel, because there's an Ultimo Dragon match that was supposed to be Joe's opponent for Genesis. That's falling through here, but the next name that apparently is trying to be agreed upon for Genesis is Nigel McGuinness.
Really?
But he had an overseas commitment to work in the UK that week. The company was in the idea of bringing in someone from outside of the US. Jeff Jarrett's idea was Abismo Negro, who we've seen before. Then the company decided to put Joe in a Survival X match. Now, after that, McGinnis apparently canceled his overseas commitment and may be back on the show, but he won't be facing Joe. Although, essentially, there's some match in England on November 12th that McGinnis was listed on. So who knows? They want to bring Nigel in, but
yeah.
Lance Hoyt crossbody to the outside, taking out Abyss. I believe these two had a killer pay-per-view match not long ago, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep, and Lance Hoyt should have won, and then he didn't, and the crowd went dead.
Yeah, and I believe
it was Hard Justice.
Hard Justice, and Hoyt tweeted us saying it was one of his, I think, favorite matches in his TNA run.
Yep.
And I could see why. I mean, it was really fun. Irish whip against a guardrail. And then Hoyt gives him a nice elbow to the face.
Oh, clothesline on the floor behind us.
Oh. There you go. Sunday, the 13th of November. Genesis. I might have just said the 3rd on accident. That was a mistake if I did say that. But they say Abyss versus Sabu, no disqualification.
That's what it sounded like.
Okay, so we're 5 minutes and 13 seconds into the show, and we already have a match for the next pay-per-view announced.
It's only 3 weeks away. You gotta announce it.
I know. I agree. Nice chop, couple of right hands, clobbering Hoyt here. Hoyt is trying to fight back here, but Abyss throws him back in the corner.
I feel like them announcing that Abyss has a pay-per-view match means he's going to go over here.
Absolutely, it does. But he's not giving up. Oh, he grabbed him around the throat. He's going to hit him with a choke slam. Oh, a knee to the midsection. Choke slam to Lance Hoyt.
Got a chair.
Uh-oh. Mitchell tosses in a chair.
I didn't notice Hoyt like slapping his leg super noticeably on those punches, by the way.
See, it's so funny because I guess like I'm not looking for that, and so I just completely missed it. Big boot with the chair to Abyss. He goes for the cover.
Oh, I thought he was gonna win.
Okay, well he almost did, but Mitchell pulled the leg. So he pulled Hoyt.
Hoyt's getting distracted.
Look at he rolls into the ring. He's chasing him, and of course, oh wait, I thought he was gonna hit him with a black hole slam. Wait, he breaks out of the choke slam. Right hand, chop, right hand.
See, he's not slapping his leg. Good job. See, now he's learned.
I'd say maybe he read the report, but it wasn't out yet. There we go. Black hole slam.
Now we'll do it. 1, 2, 3.
There you go. The Monster Abyss is victorious. So far, Hoyt has yet to beat the Monster Abyss. Boy, he's got a bag of thumbtacks.
Is Sabu about to do like a run-in or something?
Yes, he absolutely is. Lights out. Sabu appears, throws the chair at him before he dumps the thumbtacks out. Then they don't got to clean it up, you know?
No, yeah. Or is he just going to hug it?
Oh, maybe he's just taunting with him. Okay.
No.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Lights go out.
I fucking knew it. He was about to open the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't throw the chair, but...
What does he have on...
He's hiding something.
Is it barbed wire?
Oh, fuck, his arm's covered in barbed wire.
It's like shredding his fucking forearm, dude. This guy's nuts.
What the fuck? He doesn't even get to use it. He's scared Abyss off. Is Abyss scared of barbed wire?
Yeah, great. So we found something that he's afraid of. A hardcore monster is afraid of fucking barbed wire.
I feel like they've had about 7 no disqualification matches, but later tonight, 3 Live Crew versus America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, but how many of those? We're gonna comments from Team 3D as well. How many of those no DQ matches happen at the Asylum? And remember, that shit doesn't count.
No, I mean,
because it doesn't exist.
Recently, they just had one on a pay-per-view recently.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Wait, Mike Tenay Don West, he's announcing something. Oh, baby. This Thursday, Bob. A 2-hour special, primetime, 9 p.m. Now, this is a very important note for everyone who's listening. That episode will be dropping next Sunday. It's not dropping on Thursday.
They're making an apology.
Oh. We're apologizing for the equipment malfunction. Is it make do or make good? Oh, I know what they're about to do. The Ultimate X rematch is going to be part of the Spike TV 2-hour special. So they're doing a rematch because there was the malfunction on the pay-per-view.
Honestly, they would probably do an Ultimate X anyway because it's a primetime special.
I know.
Here comes Jarrett.
And so I also
Zbyszko with him.
Yeah, Zbyszko's one. I'm saying also for our listeners that episode is dropping next Sunday because there's not an Impact on Sunday. That's why they're doing the primetime special on Thursday. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Oh, no. Jarrett versus Rhino. And the belt is coming home. Okay, Bob. We're not waiting for Genesis. Wow, did you see that, show?
2-hour primetime.
So we're getting a commercial for the primetime special. And, Bob, I think it's very important to note here that Spike TV and TNA have pretty well confirmed that the regular primetime specials, no dates official at this point, but it's considered almost a lock in February, the week that Raw is preempted for the dog show, that there will be at least one between November 5th and February, provided the sides can come to financial terms, as Spike will be paying TNA for their primetime specials. So this is not going to be the last one.
And again, I don't think it's a bad idea.
I like it. Jerrelle Clark in the ring. He looks like he's about to face Christopher Daniels. I also have a Christopher Daniels note. And that is, it's not like a major thing here, but I thought it was interesting to point out. So Dave says, we know two ring rivals. They have had classic matches with each other over the past 4 years who hardly are on bad terms in real life. So when AJ Styles recently had a son, his middle name given was Cavell, which, not coincidentally, is the real name of Christopher Daniels. His name is Daniel Cavell. Daniel's wife, Lisa, on October 21st, gave birth to a baby boy, Joshua Allen Cavell. Allen, of course, is the first name of AJ Styles. It's spelled a little bit differently, but
so they're like best friends. We get it.
Yeah, they basically name their kids after each other. So
yeah, they're like best buds.
Cool. Yeah, they're best friends.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not naming my kid middle name Dallas. Fuck that.
Okay. Don't want to have a cool name, I guess.
No.
Daniel's not wearing that necklace.
Thank God. Fucking horrible.
Okay, so Bob, we're moving fast here, but what do you feel about this? Jarrett and Rhino on this primetime special.
Well, Dallas, I hate to tell you this, but I think Jarrett's about to win the title back on a fucking primetime special because he's the biggest star that the company has in his own ring.
4 days later.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be what it is. Now, it makes sense in terms of if they then have another rematch 2 weeks later on Genesis because the babyface chasing the champion for a pay-per-view, whatever, I get it. But to me, if Jarrett wins on the primetime special, which if I had to guess, he fucking is, Rhino's not winning that title back at Genesis. There's no way. If there's a title match at Genesis.
Yeah, this is feeling dirty to me, to be honest. I don't like it. I see both sides to a degree. It's like we want eyes on that primetime special, so we got to put a heavyweight title match. But damn it.
I'm going to make the argument that Jarrett being in the main event would cause people not to watch it. I'm serious, man. If there was the main event was like Rhino against Samoa Joe, people are probably going to be like, oh, shit. Okay. Or even like Rhino Jeff Hardy, something like that, you know? Nice hurricane there, back.
Wow, that was really nice. Jerrelle Clark is solid, man.
I like Jerrelle Clark. I like him better than Mikey Batts. I'll tell you that.
I agree with that. Jerrelle fits very well in the X division
what
too.
What the fuck was that?
Whoa, that was
That
nice.
was like a delayed angle slam looking thing.
And he missed that moonsault there. Oh, Angel's wings. Hits it.
1, 2, 3.
That's it.
Daniels looks pissed.
That was a good little match. Do you miss D-Ray 3000?
No.
No.
I kind of even forgot about D-Ray. D-Ray 3000, of course, being a guy that got a contract with Johnny Fairplay, convinced TNA that WWE wanted him. So D-Ray got a 1-year contract.
It's one of the funniest shits I've ever heard. Oh,
Out of
X-Division
all the
tag
people.
action coming up next. Oh, Raven backstage here with Shane Douglas. The way you were robbed of the title, and then to see Rhino defeat Jarrett for your title. This is the first time we've seen Raven not being pulled out by security in the building for a while.
Yeah.
Cassidy Riley jumps in. You're right, he was robbed. It was the crime of the century. Raven, you're being played. You're being played by Larry Zbyszko and the Championship Committee. Maybe she is getting be in your head. Maybe she made you soft. He just backhanded Cassidy Riley.
Who the fuck is she?
Yeah, so that's the second time. So they mentioned that.
So they're making so this is not a reference to Beulah and shit like that. Well, what Rhino was saying was because he was saying like she got in your head 10 years ago. No.
Yeah, but
or no, 5 years ago, but it was 10 years ago.
Roderick Strong and Alex Shelley coming out. I don't like this how low the camera is.
Okay, so 5 years. Okay, maybe I have to figure this out. So 5 years ago, it was 2000, and they were in ECW, and Raven did have a relationship with Francine on camera.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is a potential tease for Francine.
Oh, that'd be pretty interesting.
Let's keep.
She has been here before.
That's right. Yep.
Sonjay Dutt coming out here next.
That could be the girl.
Interesting.
You know who I think? You know who would fit really well with Raven is Daphne.
Oh yeah.
If that was the girl that's like in his head or something.
Yeah, it would. Wow, AJ Styles, dude. I did not expect that. I have an AJ Styles note.
AJ Styles looks so good with that fucking title.
And the black and red gear, dude.
Yeah, this is a good look.
Apparently, TNA pulled AJ Styles, Rhino, and Austin Aries from the Universal Uproar show in England on November 12th for the fear that they wouldn't make it back to Orlando by November 13th for the Genesis pay-per-view. So, Also, I'm telling you right now, that is the tube from the Asylum. There's no way it's not.
It has to be. It has to be.
And by the way, that is my final note for the show.
Oh, okay.
So.
I have an indie note here for Mr. AJ Styles, and it's actually for the same evening of October 29th. AJ Styles defeated Austin Aries at Ring of Honor's This Means War in Woodbridge, Connecticut, in a match that went 20 minutes and 35 seconds. And then let me check for these other gentlemen because
Shelley and Styles starting us off, by the way, here.
They're usually pretty busy. Yeah. All right. So, Alex Shelley is also busy here this whole weekend. On the October 28th, he competed in the Grand Prix tournament for UWA Hardcore, defeating Cheech in the first round before losing to Kevin Steen in the semifinals. And then also on that October 29th Ring of Honor This Means War show, Alex Shelley wrestled Claudio Castagnoli to a 20-minute time limit draw. And then Roddy Strong probably has something on here as well. AJ Styles with a drop kick. Wow. Okay. October 29th, This Means War. Bryan Danielson retained the Ring of Honor World title by defeating Roderick Strong in 37 minutes and 9 seconds at This Means War.
Very
And
interesting.
Sonjay. Let's see if Sonjay's got anything either. You think I would know this before the show, but I don't. All right. Well, speaking of Mikey Batts, as I just did a few moments ago, October 29th, Sonjay Dutt defeated Mikey Batts in Ultra Dragon at TNT's fourth annual Night of the Superstars event in Waynesboro, Virginia. I had almost 1,800 fans in attendance, and I'm seeing if there's anybody else on the show. And yes, there is. Dusty Rhodes was the main event of that show, defeating Bob Orton.
Wow.
Jerry Lawler was on the show. Al Snow defeated Maven in a tough enough showdown. All right. And I think that's our indie notes for today's episode.
Wow. Wow, what a tilt-a-whirl head scissor by Sonjay Dutt and Roderick Strong. Crowd's going nuts because these two just had an incredible exchange here. I mean, counter, flipping. Dude, that tilt-a-whirl head scissor was nuts. Crowd's loving it. I mean, it's been really good.
Sonjay Dutt is so underrated.
We come back, and now Shelley's in, wiping his feet on the mat, kicking it to Dutt. Oh, Scott D'Amore's at the announce table. How can they redo Ultimate X? PD won.
Shelley with the moonsault for a 2 count on Dutt.
He won it fair and square, and they're like, well, he didn't win anything. Because it fell into his hands. This is a good way to twist it. I'm curious if PD's going to still win, if he was the planned guy to win anyways.
I would have to think he would.
See, I almost think you got to switch it then.
I probably would switch it. Yeah.
I think that they have to switch it. I think it's got to be one of the other guys.
For me personally, and I don't think we've seen it. At least certainly not on a pay-per-view, but Sabin Styles singles match for the X Division title on a pay-per-view, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
I would have Sabin just win it.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Oh my god, that drop kick by Roddy.
Oh man, Styles just spit right in his face.
Wow. That's messed up.
That's the one thing in wrestling. If I was like, my one thing don't do is don't spit in my face. At least not on purpose. As a result, I would never wrestle Sami Callihan.
You don't want to wrestle like Sami Callihan, who like spits and lets it drip?
No, dude. No, dude, I'm going to throw up. I just watched a match of his where he spat a hawk loogie in the air and then caught it in his mouth.
Yeah, he does that. Whoa.
Roderick Strong just murdered Sonjay Dutt with a backbreaker.
Look, we're going to see a replay of it. It was so bad. I don't even...
Crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty looking. Over his shoulders, his knees, the Messiah of the backbreaker. Oh, nice little head scissor to Alex Shelley. There you go. Styles tag back in. Ducks the clothesline. Roddy goes after Shelley. Comes back. Couple forearms. Shelley from behind. Pele kick.
Oh.
Nice spin kick to take out Roddy. Irish whip. Comes off the rope. Back body drop. That's a big one. Did you know the Pele kick was named after the soccer player?
You sure? Okay. You sure?
Yeah. Pump handle slam. Oh, no. Pump handle gut buster. Oh, Shelley breaks it up. Yo, this is a good-ass tag match right now.
This has been very good.
Oh, nice backbreaker on Styles.
You know, it's matches like this that make me wonder that if Ring of Honor had gotten a TV deal instead of TNA, just how successful they would have been, because it's basically every match is like this.
Right.
It's like crazy shit.
Oh, baseball slide. I thought he was going to... Oh. Holy shit. He pulled him out so far, he missed the mat and he hit the concrete, I think. Roddy going after Styles again, but Styles counters. Huge clothesline, dude. Flips him inside out. Going for the Styles Clash now. Boom. Is it 3? Yep, Dutt happened to get the leg of Shelley, stopping him from getting in. Styles gets the pin on Roderick Strong. That was freaking awesome.
That was a good match.
It was really, really good.
And I like that Shelley and Strong are teaming.
Morphoplex, dude. The Morphoplex replay. The Morphoplex moment of the night. I lost so many pounds I can't keep my pants on.
Okay. So that's official then. AJ will defend the title against the winner of Ultimate X at Genesis.
Sabin.
That's who I'm hoping for.
3 Live Crew is in Larry Zbysko's office here. He's accusing Larry Zbysko of watching a naked co-ed poker game on his computer. Well, he wants to fight Team Canada, but here comes Kip James. Larry, did you give him the rematch? Oh, at Genesis. The only problem I can see is the coach got more. Oh. Kip James wants to be the special referee. Oh. Killing says not a bad idea. What do you think, K-Dog? And Conan looks fucking pissed. Oh. Well, you're like instant chaos, just like water and mix. Every time I turn around, I get hit with a guitar, obliterated with a chair. So Conan does not like the idea that Kip James is going to be the referee. Oh. See, oh, you're talking like a bitch? I'm going to slap you like a bitch, he says. So Kip James wants to be the special referee to help Scott D'Amore as 3 Live Crew is going to face Team Canada at Genesis. Oh, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Oh, what is this little highlight package? George Hackenschmidt a century ago. Oh, we're like showing some Asylum footage here.
That's like the first episode. First pay-per-view. Weekly pay-per-view.
We saw Dory Funk, Harley Race.
You can watch Pootie Tang tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Well, you guys know we are watching the Spike TV version of this. This is a cool little package about the title. Making it seem like a big deal. I don't know why we just did that, but it was nice.
That was kind of random, but that was good.
Rhino vs. Jeff Jarrett primetime this Thursday, 2-hour special. Petey Williams, Chris Sabin, and Matt Bentley in the Ultimate X. It returns again. This might be the closest in time that we've ever had an Ultimate X to each other. Here comes America's Most Wanted.
It has to be.
America's Most Wanted with Gal Kim.
Oh, yeah.
Heel AMW, top-notch shit here, man. I love it. Look how pissed that girl in the front. Like, did you see her?
Okay, so did you hear that?
No, I was talking about how I like them as a heel group, so I missed that.
So
completely.
you just missed the main event for Genesis that was announced.
What?
Yeah.
What is
Jeff
it?
Jarrett is teaming with America's Most Wanted to take on Rhino and Team 3D at Genesis.
Whoa.
So now that makes me wonder if Rhino is going to retain. No way. Jarrett, the primetime special, give me a fucking break.
BG James and Ron Killings are fading America's Most Wanted. Conan is ringside for reference.
Okay, Conan, he doesn't wear a bandana like that.
He does sometimes. No, sometimes. He comes out often with him when he's like the manager. He'll do this and then he'll pull it down, so then you can see his face.
Okay, I have an idea. Tell me what you think. So let's say hypothetically that Conan were to, or Homicide were to come into the company. What if one time they come out and Homicide is dressed up as Conan, but they don't know because of the bandana, and then he attacks them?
You could do that. You could easily do it. See, now that you say that, Conan's going to be the one that turns. Like, I really think that is what's going to happen.
Because Kip is showing his intentions every week, and it's like he wants to help. He's trying to be positive, positivity, whatever. And it's always Conan that's giving the cold shoulder and saying, no, no, no.
Right. Welcome to the cruise crib.
PG James and his stupid freaking thing. Not two, but the three live crew. Ooh.
Let's see what's going to happen in this match. Oh, our Ryan Killings mocking AMW. He's wearing James Storm's Cowboys hat while he's got him in a headlock right now.
He's dancing like a cowboy. Hurricane Rana by Ron Kelly. Team 3D, they're on the way to the arena. It's an hour show, and they are not here, and there's 11 minutes left in the show.
Going for double clothesline. Ron Killings ducks, comes back, double drop kick, knocks both AMW down.
Oh. Somersault dive by Ron onto the tag team champions. True. I should display my AMW figures, shouldn't I?
Probably.
I won't.
I need to get that James Storm one still.
You do?
Yeah, I don't have James Storm. I only
have hair?
Yeah, and do you have Mustache Harris or not Mustache Harris?
I believe it's Mustache.
You should check. There's two of them.
I'm pretty sure it's.
There's two of them. One has a mustache and one doesn't.
All right. Well, when I move things around today, I'll try to find it.
I'm on the hunt for non-mustache.
I'm pretty sure I have. Like the goatee or whatever. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, a little back elbow action here. My TNA Marvel collection is slowly but surely growing. I do think one day I will complete it.
How many figures are in it? Like the collection?
Mine or what?
The full collection.
The full. Off the top of my head, I don't know. It's not like it's not impossible, which is nice. Like there's a small enough series. The problem is they have a lot of weird variants, and that's where it gets tough.
Ron just hit his 2002 finishing move, the Truth or Consequences, which is a sit out front suplex. And here comes BG James Storm getting a tag. BG with some forearms, which is technically taped up, so that should be illegal, but what do I know? Oh, ooh. Storm dumping Ron to the floor, hitting his back on the apron. Big boot by BG. I will say BG can get his leg up pretty high on that big boot.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Oh, he's dancing. He did a couple punches, said suck it.
That's rude.
Takes out Harris.
Shake, and miss.
I hate that so much, dude.
The shake knee thing?
Yeah, I hate that. Catatonic?
Nope.
No, countered. Oh, pump handle slam on Harris. Is he going to do the hump? Oh, no, because Gail Kim gets on the apron. Here comes Conan.
Oh, see, now Conan's going to cause issues. Oh, Harris and Storm swapped out, so I think that's Storm in there now.
Twin Magic? Oh, because here
now
comes
see, now
Scott
here comes
D'Amore.
Kip behind Scott D'Amore, who's got a hockey stick, but Kip is making the save. Conan doesn't know, so now Conan's gonna think that he. Oh no, never mind. BG, don't use it, BG. You're gonna lose by DQ.
The referee's watching him, and he's like, "Don't do it."
What? Okay.
Ready? Here we go.
Harris took it away. Storm now. Super kick. 1, 2, 3.
That's a 3.
Okay, so now Conan is somehow going to blame Kip for
Mhm.
this.
When it's
BG
clearly Conan's fault.
Well, that too, and BG like took 20 minutes to fucking try to use the hockey stick. There we go. Yep.
I'm sorry. This storyline has been dragged out so fucking long, dude.
It's honestly incredible.
I mean, if it was me, if this is real life, and I had a friend who was like, there's someone else who's coming in, I don't think I'd be waiting 6 months to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Team 3D is here,
Team
dude.
3D has decided to show up finally
Well, there's less than 10 minutes left of the show.
for the last quarter hour.
That's where you need to get that ratings pop, though,
That's
son.
right. Yeah, you got to keep that audience. We haven't seen Rhino. This guy fucking won the title, and he's not even on the show.
Whoa, that's a really good point.
He's got to be coming out during this segment or something.
Rumors of their death greatly exaggerated. However, it is one of the best segments in TNA history, I'd argue. The funeral.
Oh, you know what? At work yesterday, I was talking about old school wrestling with a coworker, and they fucking brought up the funeral thing.
No, they did not.
I swear to God. And I was like, dude, I just watched that a few weeks ago. And he was like, really?
That's
I was like,
wild.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, it must have really been a huge hit back in 2005. It was a great segment.
I mean, I guess so. If someone random at work, I mean, is he a big wrestling fan or?
Yeah, we were talking about like old school TNA, but like,
Oh, okay.
to mention the funeral thing was.
I mean, that's pretty
not
specific.
expected. Yeah, that was not expecting that. I think it's funny here that Bubba, or Brother Ray, excuse me, is wearing a leather jacket, but then Devon's like, let me show you my guns because I've been working out.
Devon's jacked at this point, so I don't blame him.
He looks fucking shredded. Probably Morphoplex. It's been helping him out.
Mm. He's like, we're ready to make an impact, and that's what Team 3 has done. Won't you agree? Even though we just got beat down by AMW and had a funeral about our careers happen.
Yeah.
Oh, a standing ovation to their new favorite tag team. America's Most Wanted. Boo. Are we about to see MW come out here again?
I doubt it.
I feel like they should have done this like post-match and just confronted him. Yep, so they've done something that no other team has been able to do to us for 10 years. They said they made a mistake. You made a deadly mistake. Is that a little inside baseball to being the Deadly Boys?
That's what I just thought. If they try to switch to Deadly Boys, I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking scream.
Well, he said you left us for dead. Like they keep saying that.
Yeah.
We're too tough to die. Oh, baby. We heard about the funeral. Drinking beer at the funeral, pissing in our casket. World travels fast in this business. So we got a couple of words for you. We know every single person that was in that funeral home. Like Jeff Jarrett.
He said Jarrett weird though. He said Jeff Jarrett.
You are the ex-world champion.
Cheap pop.
You are now public enemy number 1. And at Genesis, you'll be in this ring, AMW, and Jeff Jarrett against Team 3D and the NWA Heavyweight Champion Rhino, which Bob has pointed out they already announced.
That's right.
On commentary. Now the fans know, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, Devon's talking now. He's going to lay out some vengeance. Look at those freaking traps.
This is the best shape he's been in his life.
Next
I
Thursday,
think
Spike
Devon's trying
TV.
to go for the world title.
Oh. It's time. It's time for Team 3D to lay a path of rage on Team Canada. So Team Canada versus Team 3D on the primetime special next week, guys.
So naturally, here comes Team Canada.
Okay, I get why they didn't confront AMW now. And it's Bobby Roode and Eric Young. Very important to point out. And TNA goes primetime. He gets cut up by Bobby Roode. Team 3D! I want that shirt so bad.
That is
TNA.
a great shirt. TNA.
It's so good.
That's a great T-shirt.
They not long ago. Oh wait, here's PD and A1 from behind. They recently did like a Team Canada shirt, but it was like a new version, and like I want like old school Team Canada shirt.
Right.
Okay, so we're beating down on Team 3D
Fucking
here,
Rhinos,
and something's
right.
happening.
Who is that? Jeff Hardy?
Nope, Three Life Crew.
Okay. Are we really not gonna get Rhino? I don't understand this.
Is Conan in completely different clothes than he just was?
Is he in a Three Life Crew jerseys now? And now, before he wasn't? I think so.
Yeah, and even his pants are different. So he like did full wardrobe change.
Yeah. 3D here on A1.
I mean this really nicely as Scott D'Amore gets in the ring. I just can't believe A1 is still in Team Canada.
I mean, what does he ultimately really do? Anything?
No, that's what I mean. He looks like he should be the muscle, and he's clearly like not. Here's Jarrett and AMW after they were about to beat up Scott D'Amore.
So this alliance with Jarrett, AMW, and Team Canada is basically an alliance of like 8 people.
It's a big one.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't either.
I'd even put Diamonds in the Rough with him.
There's Rhino.
Oh, here's Rhino, of course. The final fucking 15 seconds of the show. He couldn't get in the ring. Oh my God.
TNA's first 2-hour primetime special coming up as Rhino knocks Jarrett out of the ring.
Okay, so that was a good show. I mean, that flew
Thumbs
by
up.
for being 41, almost 42 minutes. My only gripe here is that they did nothing with Rhino.
I know.
He came out literally with what is with their obsession of bringing people out with 20 seconds left in the show, and that's it.
They do that quite often.
They did it with Nash coming out, was walking to the ring. We saw no physical contact.
Team 3D at the pay-per-view.
On the pay-per-view, like that was like a minute left in the show, but like what? And then here, 15 seconds, and he punches Jarrett a few times. I think there should have been a better follow-up with Rhino.
I agree with that completely.
So that's happened.
But I do agree. I think it was a solid episode of Impact. And Bob, we got a big one for you guys next week. Prime time special. It's a 2-hour episode with commercials. It's an hour, 20 minutes. But it's going to be bigger than normal. We have a huge NWA title match, Jarrett Rhino. We have an Ultimate X rematch. We got Team 3D versus Team Canada. Are we watching a pay-per-view next week, Bob?
I know. What the hell, man? This feels like a weekly pay-per-view type of show.
Yeah, it does. Which actually is kind of exciting.
Yeah, they're going back to their roots. So I'm looking forward to that. It is. I don't think I've ever seen the primetime special, to be honest with you.
I don't know if. I mean, at this point, I don't know what I've seen.
Yeah.
I get everything all mixed up. So I'm just going to assume I have also not seen it, but I'm really excited about it. And then after that, we only have one more week, and then it's Genesis. So we are flying.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the primetime special. Hopefully you guys are as well. So we will see you in just a few short days. And by that, I mean still technically a week, but in the world of TNA, it's 5 days later that there is a 2-hour primetime special. Hopefully TNA does well, but we're going to look forward to it next week. 2 hours primetime. Until then, for Dallas Gridley, I am Bob Colling Jr., and this has been the TNA Cross the Line podcast.